Hey everybody, good morning, good morning, good morning. So it has been a long time since I have done a live on the ministry page. So I guess maybe about 2 or 3 weeks, that's a long time. Anyway, I'm here this morning because I wanted to talk about a couple of things. And one of the things that I wanted to talk about, well, actually, I guess it is just going to be one thing, or maybe two things, however you look at it. But one of the things that I know that I wanted to talk about is knowing your attacks. And not only do you need to know your attacks, you need to know how your attacks are coming. And so I had a dear sister of mine, minister, prophetess, that she quickly caught on to attacks that the enemy brings to me. And one of the attacks that the enemy brings to me quite often is dealing with prayer. And when there is a prayer assignment for me, the enemy immediately goes into the attack. And then I can't go forth and I have to stop. And so he's won. And so we're having our community day today. So if you're anywhere near West Florissant and Mimica, 6080 West Florissant, Greater Pentecostal Church of God, we're having our community day with back to school supplies. And I believe there are some fun things for the kids to do. It is from 10 to 2, so stop on by. But I had been asked before I left to go out of town on vacation if I would be able to be there to pray at the prayer station. And I said that I wasn't going to commit because I did not know when I would be back from vacation. But if I was back, I would just show up and I would go to the prayer station and pray with the individuals that came up for a little while. And so I got back and I made up in my mind yesterday, hey, I'm going to get up, I'm going to go, and I'm going to be at the prayer station for a little while. So immediately at about between 1 and 3, I felt a little something, but by 3 o'clock, the attack was full on from the enemy to make me say, you know what, I'm not going to be able to do that today. I'm sick in my body. This is what's going on. But immediately the Lord brought it back to me. What he had the minister and the prophetess say to me, that every time you have a prayer assignment, the enemy comes and he attacks you in your body with sickness to the point that you cannot go. You cannot show up. You cannot do that assignment. And then he's done. He's done his job and he's won that round because he's did the attack so hard. And so I began to pray and I began to let the enemy know, no, not today. You will not do that today. I see you. I know what this attack is. I'm to pray. You don't want me to pray. I'm to be there. You don't want me to be there. So guess what? I'm going to be there. So I began to pray and I began to rebuke the sickness that came. I began to rebuke what he had brought to my body to make me feel like I wasn't going to be able to do it. And granted, I couldn't get there when we first got started, but I'm on my way now. And the more I began to pray, the more I began to bind that thing, the more I began to think on the scriptures, the more I began to just cry out to God, God began to move the attack that the enemy had on me. So we have to know our attacks. We have to know how the enemy attacks us. We have to know where they're coming from. And your attack usually has something to do with the ministry that God has called you to. So if he's attacking, if you feel attacked when it's time to pray, you feel attacked dealing with healing, deliverance, whatever it is, then God is calling you to that area. not only is he calling you to that area, you've got to go through some things in order to be able to minister to somebody that, hey, you know what? I've been through that. This is how God heals. This is how God delivers. This is how God restores. You also have to know that the enemy is going to attack you in that area to keep you from doing that work that God has for you to do in that area. So you have to know your attacks. And then you have to know where they're coming from and how they're coming. So I guess it is 2 or 3 things. You have to know your attack. You have to know how it's coming. You have to know where it's coming from, because the enemy is very slick. Because you could be doing something else. Like I was on vacation all week, out of town, and I did not start having any problems until it was time for me to come back. I didn't start having any problems until once I got back and made up in my mind that I was going to go to the community day so that I could be at the prayer station. Then the enemy decided, oh, let me attack here. Oh, let me attack there. Let me attack here. Let me attack there. Let me attack here. Let me attack there. Let me attack over here. Let me get here. Let me have her eat something that'll just make her ill to the point that she won't be able to go anywhere. But knowing that if it is Monday, I would do whatever I needed to do to try to get to work. That's how the enemy will attack. And a lot of times we don't pay attention. And I say we because I mean me. Because I wasn't paying attention to the attacks and how he would move and how he would do his attacks. He does them because he knows somebody is going to need whatever it is you have to give them today. Somebody's going to come across your path that they're going to need you to pray, or they're going to need you to share your testimony of whatever it is that they're going through. You're going to have a word that's going to be able to encourage and help them. So what do I need to do? Let me just attack her in her body. Let me just make it where, hey, she ain't going to be able to go. She's not going to be able to do this. Or he's not going to be able to do that. Why? Because I've attacked them in that area to the point that they can't go. But when God sends word to remind us or to show us, then we got to start acting on it immediately when it comes, because it's coming. It's coming. I am not a person that dreams. But God showed me in a dream something was going to happen at work to me. And I didn't even know what it was. I thought it was one thing, but it wasn't. But when the situation happened, a few days later before I went on vacation, God said, I showed you what was going to happen. You thought it was this over here, but it wasn't. I was showing you this is coming for you. And so I said, oh my God, I didn't get that. But what he was telling me was, you have to start asking me the right questions. And saying, God, what does this mean? What is this coming to me? But that's not what I did. But had I done that, then I would have known and wouldn't have been caught so much off guard. So, I always tell people I'm not a person that dreams. So if God shows me something in a dream, then that means that's something that's getting ready to take place, because I don't dream. I'm not a dreamer. That's just not me. I don't have visions like that. So if he shows me something, then that means that's something that's getting ready to take place. And I need to be praying. There was a time that God showed me a dream about an individual. And I immediately woke up at 2 o'clock in the morning and began to pray for that individual. A week or two later, the thing that God showed me was something that happened but God spared the individual's life. And he showed me that dream about the individual on 2 different occasions. And each time it happened, he spared that person's life. So when God is dealing with us, we got to get up right then and start praying. We have to know that, hey, you know what? I can't just sleep on this. I got to get up. I got to pray immediately. Because we're interceding for somebody. We're interceding for them. We don't particularly know, but God is giving a warning of something and we need to intercede. Sometimes it's for ourselves that he gives us the warning to intercede for ourselves. I saw the paper, just didn't know what it was. Just didn't know what it was. But God knew exactly what it was. But had I prayed differently and interceded for myself, then I wouldn't have been so much caught off guard and so upset as I was. So that's something else that we have to also make sure that when those things happen, that we get up and we pray, and that we are praying the right way, or praying to get the right answers or revelation that we need for whatever it was that God has shown us in a particular moment. What else was I going to say? I think that's all I really wanted to say. I am going to go home later on this evening or this afternoon, probably this evening, maybe even tonight. I will be live on the ministry page, and I am going to talk about the scriptures that God gave me for my birthday, because God needed to remind me of some things. And truly, I enjoyed my vacation. I was able to relax. I was able to replenish, rejuvenate. And, you know, we oftentimes don't realize that we need to have self-care for ourselves. We just go, and we take care of everybody else, but we don't take care of ourselves. We have to take care of ourselves, because we only get one body. We only get the one body here on earth, and so we've got to take care of it. We've got to rejuvenate. We have to do those things. That is a necessity. That is a must that we do those things. All right. Well, that's all I have. And if you are out and about, please come to the Greater Pentecostal Church of God Community Day at 6080 West Florissant. It is from 10 to 2 p.m. today. There are back to school supplies, and I believe that there are some fun activities for the kids. There are ministers there to pray with you. I'm not sure what all we have, but we have a variety of things that will be going on today. So please stop on by. Hope to see you there. Bye. Have a great day.